Feeling more busy than productive? Looking for a way to slow down the day and get everything done? Welcome to All the Things with Julie Miller Davis, where we interview the experts who love to do everything you shouldn't be doing so you can stop juggling all the things and start doing the right things. Here's your host, CEO and founder of JMD Productivity Training and the host of All the Things, Julie Miller Davis.
Hello, everybody. It is January and time for All the Things with Julie Miller Davis. So excited to have you all here today. I am just wanting to actually get started. I don't know where my guest is, so hopefully she'll be here soon. And if not, I'm going to just answer the questions for you, I guess, and interview my own little self. So that's what we've got going this morning. All the Things with Julie Miller Davis is really created because at JMD Productivity Training, our mission is to really help entrepreneurs, business owners stop the noise, internal and external noise, so they can be fully present doing whatever it is that they need to be doing. And so that means focusing on their business, their lives, and not doing all the things wearing all the hats that happen to come up as business owners and as moms and as, life, as friends, as all the other hats that we wear and all the other things. But you don't need to wear all the hats in your business. You don't need to be the chief marketing officer. You don't need to be the chief financial officer and the chief executive officer, and all of those things don't need to be who you are. So that's where this was born from. My guest just got here, so I'm so excited to see her. Our guest today is Miss Colleen Sawatsky. And Colleen Sawatsky of Trestle Consulting, I'm going to read this, is the rarest of unicorns. An extroverted CPA, she firmly believes in finances can and should be fun and easy for business owners. She's on a mission to leverage her 20 years in the accounting and finance industry to help early stage and growing entrepreneurs own their numbers so they can kill it at business while living their best lives. It goes right along with what I was just saying to all of you as far as what we need to be doing and what we don't need to be doing. Colleen has taken the knowledge that she gained from her big corporate years and adjusted it into a process that supports the growing entrepreneur. Her company offers complete accounting and financial support at a fraction of the price that you would spend hiring a bookkeeper, accountant, tax prepper, tax planner, fractional CFO, money coach, etc., all separately. She's pretty phenomenal, and it's pretty fun hanging around her. So she has 2 hockey-loving little boys and 1 handsome husband that she calls her sugar. So excited to welcome to our studio today, Colleen Sawatsky. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, good to see your face. So glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. So I just introduced you, your formal bio. Could you just paint a picture of your journey a little bit, weaving in the essence of your business and what drove you to start it?
Yeah, it's just been a journey, as every entrepreneur understands. So I actually started my own business when I had my first son. Oh God, he's almost 10 now. I was in corporate finance, and I was just burnt out from feeling like I wasn't making a difference. I had to work crazy hours, and you put in all this effort and you don't see any results from it. So I decided to make that big entrepreneurial jump with the baby. So that was fun. And I started my business, and I did everything we're told not to do. I undervalued my services. I took anybody who was willing to pay me, I thought was a good client. I just made every mistake that we're all not supposed to make. So a few years in, I created a business I hated. I cried every day. Not only was I not anywhere close to replacing my corporate salary, I was losing money. No one talks about how expensive it is to start a business. And I was hemorrhaging money, and I hated it. So that was a fun journey. I did a reset. I took a couple of years, did consulting work. I worked with some mergers and acquisition firms. I consulted with other small accounting firms, just to kind of reset and figure out, what do I really want to be doing? And about 3 years ago, I was like, okay, I'm ready to work with my own clients again, but I'm going to do it right this time. So obviously I'm still making mistakes, because that's how,
that's what we do.
But I actually love my business now. I had a client call this morning. It just fills me up. Like, when I am able to have conversations with my clients, I get energized. I get more energy to go be with my kids, to hang out with my husband, to go after hobbies, instead of feeling drained from my business. So the rebuild of these last few years it's been a different journey, but so fulfilling. And I've gotten to I've made more strategic decisions, and working with more strategic coaches that help me really figure out how to do it the right way this time.
And I think that, just watching you for the last year or so, it's been so fun, but also seeing you be so involved and invigorated by and with the people that you're hanging out with, and finding those ideal clients and reaching out beyond that even, and just so much enthusiasm. And I think a lot more strategy behind what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, because you're one of those people that you're all into all of it all at once. And so now a little bit more let me think through this a little bit before I say yes, or before I go to that or whatever. And I think that's where a lot of us, entrepreneurs, generally love to learn. And they are all in to everything. And so it is so much about, you can do that for a minute, but then it's then you just have this information, but you're not necessarily doing much with it, or doing much with it strategically, I would say. So
exactly. I think, and I see this with my clients. I saw myself do it. I still want to do it. It's kind of try everything all at once and see what sticks. It's like the worst business plan. I don't know why any of us think it's going to work, but we do it. We're like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to start a TikTok channel. And it's that's not aligned with anything that I've said I wanted to do, but because it's like squirrel. It's the entrepreneurial squirrels. They get me. They get a lot of us.
They do get a lot of us. They do get a lot of us. So kind of jumping off of that a little bit, I would like to talk about just a little productivity insight from you. JMD productivity, we're all about productivity. So what is, of all the productivity hacks, if you want, I don't like that word, but that you've encountered, which one stands out as a game changer for you? Which one is man, that works, that's awesome, even if you don't practice it all the time? What's a thing?
I think the biggest thing for me has been planning the quarter, planning the 3 months out of this is what my priorities are. And because we're going to see a bunch of stuff that comes in, there's going to be oh, that's cool. But if I can stay focused on, no, I said this was my priority this month or this quarter. I kind of, months are a little short for me. But you obviously encourage us to look at it longer. Making sure that when opportunities come up, that you put them through that, I said this was important. Now, am I going to change my priorities, or am I going to stick with what I said was important and say no to this right now? So it's really setting the big rocks for the quarter have been helping to keep me more on the day-to-day focus on what I'm doing. It's still hard.
It is hard. It is hard because there's all kinds of unexpected things. First of all, unexpected opportunities come up and unexpected things in life come up, right? And so it is really important to keep yourself in check and have space for some of that stuff, that if it is an opportunity, okay, am I going to shift? And it's important to, I think, to what you're saying, that we recognize that a quarter is 90 days. And I talk a lot about the 90-day rule, like what we put into motion now, we most likely won't see come to fruition for 60 to 90, probably 90, closer to 90 days. And it doesn't have to run in like your, like traditional quarters. Like it doesn't have to be January through March and April through June. And, it can be February to, it just depends on where are your launches or where are your goals, like where are they aligned, and then back it out 90 days. It doesn't have to be your traditional quarter of the year. It can start whenever it starts and just measuring it out and planning it out that 90 days. Right.
Right. And that's why I love what you have us do, is that like you look at your year and you kind of pencil in your big things for the year. You put in like, oh, I know I'm going to do a launch here, or I know there's an event I'm going to here, or I know like I kind of look longer term, and then kind of work it. And the working it backwards is obviously key. I don't know why that falls away from our front of our mind every time. Like if we were planning a wedding, we would pick the date and work backwards. But for some reason in our businesses, we don't think about it that way. Naturally, we have to force ourselves into it. So yeah, I agree. Obviously, coming from the accounting world, my head thinks in the fiscal quarters, the January, the January through March. But you're right. If there's something happening in an August, you work back 3 months before that and you think, okay, this is what the primary focus is.
Right.
Then oftentimes when you pencil out everything that's on your calendar, I'm like, whoa, there's way too much that is happening in this chunk of time. I need to spread it out. I need to say no, because you can't do it all good. You can't show up to a launch, to an event, to whatever you're doing and do it all well.
No, we can't. And that's, a huge part of, what we talk about is how do you reach a new level of excellence? How do you reach new heights? And it's not by doing everything. It's by being super focused and strategic. So that leads me actually to the next question, Colleen, which I'm wondering if you can share just a specific instance when you were challenged in maintaining focus or in your productivity and strategy, and what helped you kind of come back to where you needed to be?
I think my biggest challenge, and it's an ongoing challenge, is the day-to-day delivery. Like when you're in that Monday morning, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do another week. I lose like the excitement around doing the actual work. I love the big planning, the big events, the big things. It's fun to plan those. But when it comes down to what our lives, our businesses are what we do every day. And so I do struggle a lot with staying motivated while actually doing the small tasks we have to do to get there. And I think the biggest thing that has brought me that motivation is the vision work you do for your business, the where you really, how you want to feel in your business. I refresh myself that anytime I'm like, I just don't want to go do this thing. I remind myself of how does it feed into my bigger vision for my business. And nobody wants to do a tax return. I'm never like, yes, I get to go do this tax return.
Exciting. Yeah.
Woo! But it feeds into that vision I have of supporting these earlier stage entrepreneurs, of learning how to save money on their taxes, plan for the taxes. And when I can tap back into that feeling I get, it makes it, like, oh yeah, now I'm going to go do this tax return. It feels good, and you understand why you're doing it.
Yeah, because that vision is all about why you're doing what you're doing, right? And it is. It's not always easy or fun or super invigorating to do the day-to-day things. It's not. Generally, it's not. So that keep you going and keep the money coming in. So but yeah, we all started our businesses for a reason, and if you can keep tapping into that, the thing that really lights you up, then you'll keep finding ways to feed that part of your business soul, if you will. So yeah.
And it definitely keeps you rooted in what is the right thing to be doing. Like if I don't want to do the tax return, what does that mean for my clients? What does that mean for what I'm trying to deliver? It definitely, it just pulls it back together. Nobody wants to do the admin stuff of our business.
No,
but
except the people that want to do that, right, for a living. And then we should be handing it off to them because they love that stuff. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, send my emails, make them pretty, do all that stuff because that's not me.
Yes.
Right. Can you share a recent eureka moment that you had in your business and how did it redefine or realign your goals at all, or bring something back into focus?
And this is one that you're very familiar with. For the longest time, I built my business when I had young kids. I wanted it to be just me. I didn't envision managing people. I didn't envision it growing beyond a solopreneur journey. And I think what happened is my youngest is finally in full day school. He's in kindergarten now. And now it's like, oh, I have the bandwidth to do more. And so that, and I want to do more. And so making that mental shift from going from I'm by myself, it's just going to be me, I only have to manage me, to bringing on team members has been, and what that means for my business, how I can serve more people. It was very exciting and very scary to now bring on that extra layer of complexity into the business. But that moment of, oh my goodness, I can impact more people. If I have other people send my email, if I have other people on my team who can do the stuff that they're great at, like finding those great bookkeepers on my team who are they just love it. And I actually really enjoy bookkeeping, but it's not where I could add the most value to my clients.
But you've also found that training them and getting them in alignment with exactly how you like to do the bookkeeping and serve in the bookkeeping has added another element of, I don't know if joy is the word, but another element of satisfaction to you as well, I think, as far as what I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, I have specific ways I want to do things, and it's created this new layer of joy. And I think there's joy in my business to be able to teach people how to do it correctly and see them get that satisfaction of being able to do work that is making a difference and doing it well and being part of a fun. Again, we try to make accounting fun. I make it fun for my team. It has added this new layer of joy. I mean, obviously it comes with struggles because it's hard to manage people.
Yeah.
But it has been a lot more fun and a lot more fulfilling for me to bring on people than I thought it would be.
Well, and it's solving a problem of a ceiling that you had run into. I have this in my business too. I am only me. I only have so many hours to coach and to teach my programming and all of that. And so at what point, you're like, well, I guess either I'm just me and that's all the money I will ever make. And that's the only number of people that I will ever serve. Or you find a way okay, what pieces could somebody else do so that I can do the piece that I love, which is that whole strategy and all of that is what you love, and hand off those other pieces. And then you have just compounded the number of people that you can serve. So.
Exactly. And I think a lot of, obviously in my world, and I think in your world, but especially for women entrepreneurs, that we tend to be more service-based businesses.
Yeah.
We're not in our backyard producing widgets normally. And when we're a service-based business, we are limited by how many hours in a day we have. And that is a really hard thing to be able to grow beyond. We all have these big financial goals for ourselves, but at the end of the day, I've talked to Julie about this a lot. I want to work 25 hours a week in my business. That's hard. If there's only 25 hours of my time every week, I need to figure out a way to make systems, make processes so that it can still happen. And it's been fun. It's been, obviously working with Julie, and she's been helping me come up with what are the systems and processes for bringing on those team members so that they're also being held accountable, so that I don't have 50, 60 weeks when it's just me. And that's the only way I can make money is through one-on-one just with me.
Just with you. Yeah. It's very limiting. And at some point it moves from being fulfilling into being a drain. And so, it's interesting because I'm working with a coach right now who's having me every day write down what were the things that really lit me up and what were the things that felt really draining. And so we're trying to tap into how to reignite some energy towards growth in my business. Like I could hang where I am for a really long time, but that's not even living my vision or, it's not walking my talk and stuff. So, and it's fine being fine, but it's not really fun being fine. So
yeah. Well, and especially if you're an entrepreneur, generally you have that mindset of growing and creating new things.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are people who start businesses because they're like, I just love doing this one thing, and you see that sometimes, like I see that with like bookkeepers. So like, I just love bookkeeping and I just want to bookkeep. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, like they're happy to sit there and like there are people who are like that, but very rarely are they true entrepreneurs who are ever happy with, oh, it's built and now I'm just going to sit with it. It's like, no, I'm going to start another business. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that.
Right. Exactly.
Not happy with that.
Because we have that level of complacency that we don't like that. We don't like complacency. We like to jump into new things, try new things, expand things and all of that. So, and speaking of that, my next question is really about how one of the things that I value most is education as a past educator. So it's, I really believe in the power of continuous learning. Is there a book or a podcast or a course or something that's kind of sparked you recently or is something that you want to share with us?
I am I love learning too. So my problem though is I don't have enough time for it, right? So I can't tell you how many books I buy and never read. I have like a stack of books that I'm like, oh, I want to read these. Same with courses. I'll sign up for courses, but like never get through them. And I think, and I get a sense of guilt around that. And so I'm trying to stop doing that and trying to make my learning the more interactive, like where you have to show up to it, because that's how I learn is with people, and it doesn't need to be physically live, but on the call with people and then engaging. I can't sit in front of a pre-record. It's just not me. So I really have learned that about myself. And so I invest in my learning through group programs. I love the group, when there's
so much
person who's leading. Yes. The energy you get, the ideas you get that you never would have, like if I was just coaching with Julie one-on-one, which I get the pleasure of doing, she'll have great ideas for me. But then when there's the group, something she says sparks it in the other 5 people on the call. They're like, oh, what about this? What about that? And that just, in the moment, it fills me so high, and having all those ideas zinging around it, even just being able to be part of other people's journey. So I really decided this year I'm only participating for my learning for the in these group programs because of it's a better use of my time. I'll show up to them. Even I show up to them even if I haven't done the work. Julie knows I literally never do my homework. I was on our left. I was like, oh, I forgot that we're supposed to turn in things, but I still show up. And I think that's the thing I have is find something you'll show up for. And if you're the person that will show up for those pre-recorded classes, great. You can get so much out of that. But I will show up because there's the other people who are going to be there. I know I'll show up for that. So being part of those group programs, but limiting it. I'm part of 2. I have 2 people, 2 groups I show up to.
That's good.
I will move.
It's great awareness
to show up to them.
Yeah, it's great awareness to have around yourself. And last year I was trying to read a business book every month. That went out the window. And then I was like, well, maybe every other month. That went out the window. I think I read 3 last year, which is fine. But I'm really big. I subscribe now to Inc. magazine, and I can kind of tell them what types of articles I like. And so I get like 1 or 2 articles from them a week. And it's been really powerful to, first of all, get to choose what types of things I want to read about and let them like sort through it and I can read an article and highlight stuff and pull it and make notes about it and feel like I advanced my knowledge around productivity or around entrepreneurship or whatever it is that I'm leadership or whatever it is that I'm digging into. And and it's short and palatable for me. And because I'm not a podcast listener, I love reading, but I don't love reading business books. But now and then I will. I mean, I read 3 last year. So, and I've got like 6 downloaded on the Audible. We'll see if I get to them, but I can give you guys my list. We'll do that one day. Like, here are the books I think I want to read. So,
here are the purchase books I have. You know, into a good hack I have around this as I subscribe to an app called Blinkist. I've tried a few other ones where they take books, and Blinkist has so many business books. It's
I've heard about that.
Where it's like a Cliff Notes version, and it's Audible. So you can buy the one you read. I get the audio one so I can listen to it. And they'll take a big book and they'll condense it down to like a 30-minute listen. And they'll just say, here are your high points. Here are what each chapter is. And then I'm always like, if I
right now, because I forgot all about that. I'm so glad you brought that up.
And it just makes it so when people suggest a book to you, you don't have to like invest the time to read. Not only do you buy the book, but you're actually reading it. This app will give it to you really short. And I'm like, if I want to, I can then go buy the whole book and read it if I feel like, oh, that moved me. That hasn't happened yet. Normally that's enough for me. So I love that app. And they'll suggest more and more, and you can fall into a hole there. But whenever anybody's like, oh, you should read this book, I always go there first to decide, should I actually read the book?
At least you get the gist, right? Yeah, I love it.
But I subscribe to Inc. and also Business Insider. Yeah, they do something similar. Both Inc. and Business Insider. I love both those. I go into like
I'm always writing notes. Though. So yeah, good. So let's wrap things up, Colleen. And is there anything that our listeners can benefit directly from you with? Is there, do you have any upcoming things that you're offering, or maybe you have a opt-in that they could benefit from, or maybe you just have a newsletter that goes out or something like that? Is there anything that you want to offer to our people?
I do. On my website, my free opt-in right now, and someday I'm going to change it. Right now, though, it's pretty cool. I'm an Excel freak. I love building things in Excel. And so I created this template based off of information from the Harvard Business Review of how entrepreneurs spend their time. I created it into an Excel file where you go in and say, how many hours do you want to work? What kind of tasks? And then what stage of entrepreneur are you? And then it tells you what chunks of time you should be spending. Like how much time should you actually be spending on marketing versus like delivering. So it's like it's like a time prioritizer thing. I don't know what I called it, but if you sign up for my email list there, I do send out 1 email a month right now. So we try really hard to make it topical and important, like financial information for business owners once a month, where we send out like, hey, you should be aware of this. It's not like deadlines, but it's like, think of like this in your business this month. So if you pop on my website, TrestleConsult.com, you can get that free download and you'll join my list where you get my once a month email. Awesome. Right now on my website, normally I give away like 15-minute free calls, but right now that link just puts you on a wait list.
You are heading into tax season, so it is getting a little bit crazy at your end of the thing. So yeah.
Well, taxes should be an all year round thing. I think people should be knowing their taxes all year round. So I intentionally self-select out clients who are like looking to hire me this time of year. I say, you're probably not my ideal client. So that you end up on a wait list there.
Yeah. All right, Colleen, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you very much. And I get to see you again today later and in a couple weeks. Yes. So very, very excited.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I just saw it on my calendar because when you look out the next week, I'm like, oh, it's coming up. I can't. Yeah, it's been definitely what I've needed in my business, helping somebody, because when we're by ourselves, it's hard to stay focused. We need somebody else. And until we're in a big corporation where there's lots of people who are like steering us, where we're small businesses, nobody's helping us steer the ship. And we need to find that person who can help us be a little more laser focused. And that's Julie's my person.
Well, thank you, Colleen. And we will talk soon.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you for being here. I hope that you will share this interview with Colleen. It was an amazing interview, like one of my best, I think. We've got make sure that you please check her out at TrestleConsult.com and grab her free I think it's like a productivity, planner kind of thing where you're really looking at where you should be spending your time. It's not even a planner. It's like assessment. And then you get an answer on where you should be spending what time. Upcoming here, we've got Tame Your Task List coming up in February. 3 days, 90 minutes at a time with me, February 20th, 21st, 22nd. Be looking for that link to come out in my newsletter this week and get signed up. It's free, and I will help you separate your task list to make it manageable and interface that sucker with your calendar. We also have a new virtual event coming up in May of 2024. We've never done the Unstuck event purely virtual, and it's coming up in the middle part of May. So keep your eyes open for that. Everyone, have a great week. Thank you all so much, and go out there and be productive.